Benny still wears his heart on his sleeve. He's still absolutely gutted about that result. But our very own Fox League's immortal Mal Meninga, he was given the toughest task of naming his best Raiders side of all time. And it's an embarrassment of riches of the people he had to choose from, premiership winners and legends, all in their own right. And Mal he described this team as a smart one, full of speed and full of skill. Number one there, Gary Belcher, Noah Nandruku. Peter Jackson named as captain, a very interesting choice. We're going to talk to Mal about that in a moment. Hall of Famer Ruben, Wiki, Brett Mullins, and of course in the halves, Laurie Daly and Ricky Stewart, Glenn Lazarus, Steve Walters at hooker, Quentin Pongia, Ben Kennedy, David Ferner and Bradley Clyde at lock. And then interestingly, the bench, all current day Raiders: Josh Hodgson, John Bateman, Josh Papali and Jason Croker. Well, Jason Croker, yes, not Jared Croker, but Jason Croker, obviously an all-time celebrated within the Raiders community. Mal Meninga, unbelievable, isn't it?
Me.
Mal Meninga joins us live from Canberra. Mal, how tough was this one to choose, just to narrow it down to your best 17?
Extremely tough, as well, I think most tasks trying to pick a best ever team for any club, really, or Queensland or New South Wales. But I think I've done a pretty good job. What do you think?
I think you've done a magnificent job, Mal. I've just gone through the 13.
Thanks, Kenny.
9 of them were in your 94 team, and obviously it shows. Matty Johns always says 94 Raiders is probably the best club side ever assembled. 9 of these blokes were in that side. You obviously didn't pick yourself, which would have made I think any Raiders all-time good side. I tell you what, Mal, it's a pretty impressive side. They beat you up on both sides of the ball, this team, don't they?
Yeah, I reckon so, Kenny. I think probably the best ever team I ever played in clubland was certainly the 94 side. So, yeah, a lot of those guys made it. And, I don't think there's too many surprises. I mean, you've already mentioned Peter Jackson. Jacko, what a great player he was. Played for Queensland, played for Australia. And that story's true, Bonnie. So Sheedsy said to me not so long ago that if Jacko would have stayed at the club, he was thinking about making him captain. So that's why I thought I'd put Jacko captain. I know we've got so many great leaders, Badge, Gary Belcher, Laurie, Ricky, all those sort of Steve Walters, all those guys that could have done a terrific job. But just pumped for Jacko, and like I said, it just takes all that fight out of Ricky and Laurie, I suggested.
Hey, Mal, you put Johnny Bateman in there. I mean, it's a big rap on a kid who's only been in the NRL for a short time. You must have a high opinion of him.
I always had a high opinion of him, Fletch. Even when he played in England and played for his country, I thought he's a terrific player. And but he took the rugby league world by storm last year. The way he just felt like he was part of it for many, many years. And what a terrific player he is, and he would have fit into any of the Raiders' great sides. If he probably here for a bit longer, mate, he might even made the run-on squad. That's how highly I feel that he's obviously a talented player.
Mal, one of the unusual, I think, for people who are sort of later to the game is Ruben Wiki at centre. Now, Ruben Wiki finished his career in the front row, so a lot of people wouldn't remember him as a centre. But when you talk to players of that era and they talk about coming out, playing the Raiders, and then it goes from Stewart to Daly, he gives it to Meninga, and then suddenly, okay, Mal's passed it, thank God, but he's given it to Ruben Wiki back in the days when centres played on the same side of the field. I imagine having him sitting outside you at different times must have been a wonderful thing to have.
Well, he's such a physical player too, Kenny. So as you mentioned initially, both sides of the footy field or footy side is attack and defence, and Ruben was a terrific defender and as well. So he was a talented young kid. He first came over to the Raiders when he was about 18 years of age. Cheesy wrapped him up big time, so he went and watched him. The first ever game was against Balmain at Leichhardt Oval. He lasted about a minute and a half, got sent off. so that was our introduction to Ruben Wiki, but he quickly made it, into first grade through that year, and what a great legend he was, and went on to be one of the greatest ever players ever played the game.
Mal, you're playing in this team here, or you'll say you're coaching this team or assistant to Sheensy because you've even made Sheensy the coach. But if you've got this team and it's 75th minute and you're down by a try, who do you look to turn the game for you?
That's a good question, Kenny. Probably Mullows.
Yeah.
Mullins, Brett Mullins probably, everyone could argue the fact that he could have been in the fullback position, but I just thought, Gary Belcher was such a great player and great leader at the club, and had obviously a great career, playing that position, played for Australia that position. But Mullows, I've been watching Fox, quite a lot lately, and you see the Brett Mullins of old, and when Canberra played Newcastle, scoring
We're showing it now.
four tries in that game, and just his sheer speed and ability. So he's great under the ball. When he went to the Roosters, again, on a playing contract, and played every game and helped them win a premiership as well. So he was a highly talented player, and he could score from anywhere.
Now, what about the other winger, Noah Andruku? Now, was it true that he made his debut and he was 44? Is that true, Mal?
44. He looked 44, that's all.
So
I remember.
Who spotted Noah?
Well, Sheezy again. So Sheezy went over to New Zealand and watched the Pacific Cup. And at that game, he brought back 5 players. That's Noah Andruku, Ruben Wiki, Johnny Lomax, Quinton Pongia, and might have been 4 players. It's not 5 players. Yeah, it's not too bad. But Noah, remember when he first came to the Raiders, he's such a respectful person, being Fijian and all. And he's come to the Raiders, we're playing their first game, and she's ready to make a speech prior to the game, and Noah's sitting on the floor. And we're wondering why Noah's sitting on the floor. Of course, in his culture, so not being obviously hierarchical, so being the young person of the group, they sit on the floor, and all their elders sit in chairs and stuff. But he was a remarkable player. He was very physical, ran the ball hard, run over top of you, he could step you. But again, defensively, he was outstanding as well. Read the play very well and can tackle, really, really well as well.